The story begins in the Nasu continent in the year 1424, during the peak of the Great Stallion War. Creatures are striking their swords against the enemy, with many losing their lives in the midst of flames and blood as the Demon King marches on. Anyone who resists must say their final goodbyes. The people are breathing in despair and praying for a miracle. However, a warrior emerges from the darkness and the story of the role-playing game Paradiso begins. The protagonist, a power blogger on the game's information site and a veteran player, has the mission of defeating the Demon King and developing the lands. However, his love for the game becomes too much, overworking himself leads to health deterioration, ultimately becoming the cause of his death. The protagonist, a chubby young guy, screams in despair, "Am I seriously going to die a virgin at the old age of 30? As he woke up in his bed, the maid standing by his bed says, "My lord, did you have a nightmare?" The boy, confused about what is happening, looks around the room. He finds himself in a large, royal bedroom with a large door and lots of pictures and paintings hanging on the huge walls. The other side of his room has large windows bringing ample sunlight and a beautiful chandelier hanging from the roof. Having no clue about his whereabouts, the chubby guy asks the maid about this place. Both confused, the guy realizes that he has been reincarnated as an obese character in some game. The details of this in-game character are finally shown. The character's name is Jared and he is still on level 1 with a condition of extreme obesity. His obesity is so extreme that his expected lifespan has dropped by 20 years. The protagonist now stands in front of the mirror wondering how he died and turned into a fat-ass character. He questions how his character has been so fat for 10 years and his stats not being any better than his looks. After calming himself, the protagonist starts to remember his previous name, Shin Tipong, who died from exhaustion and is now resurrected as a fat young noble named Jared. Jared noticed that the game UI is like the one in Paradiso and the calendar used is also the Nasu calendar. It can be safely assumed that he has been resurrected in Paradiso. However, the game is now his reality. Sweating starts again and his face turned pale as Jared realized that he will soon die. The year he is resurrected is 1414 of the Nasu calendar, so in about 10 years, the War of the Great Stallion will begin. The army of the Demon King is going to turn everything into ashes and a fat guy like him cannot even run away. The Demon King's army is not the only problem. In about 5 years, this world of Paradiso will have to face the toughest time. Droughts, famine, and natural disasters will take place simultaneously. Such conditions always bring the worst out of people and soon they will start fighting each other, initially at a lower level. But once the situation gets worse, countries will scramble for food, starting the Great Nasu War. Once the war breaks out and nations go up against each other, a fat noble will just be an easy kill. Realizing this fact made Jared's sweat glands go crazy and his breath starts to feel heavy. After accepting fate, Jared's mood turns foul as he smacks his hand in anger, screaming how even the #1 blogger of Paradiso, the Paradiso Encyclopedia, was also unaware of this fat dude's existence, showing how unimportant this character is. Jared questions faith and how he could have been given a handsome male character who leads a happy and satisfied life. The chair he was sitting on felt the intensity of his anger and its leg cracked, throwing the sad and huge Jared on the floor. Jared had memories of his younger self who was slim, smart with big blue eyes and golden hair tied up nicely. He thought that such a guy should have grown up to be a handsome man. Lying in despair wouldn't do any good, so Jared picked himself up and set the goal of losing some weight by using the bugs in this game to his advantage. If he was a smart guy in the character's past, why can't he be a smart guy now? Jared thought while getting up on his feet. Jared's intention was clear in his eyes and the expressions showed his sheer will. He decided to use his intense knowledge of the game to turn whatever situation he was in to his advantage. Jared is not going to accept this future. Instead, he has decided to carve his own better future. The better future for him is unifying the world and leading it from the front as its king. Jared's goal is clear now. Just when the maid, Hayes, was busy cleaning up the library wondering how it has been so long since Master Jared stepped foot there, Jared rushed in and started turning the library upside down. Hayes asked what her master was looking for, to which he responded that he's looking for the keepsakes his father left him. Hayes found what seemed to be a golden necklace with a reddish stone carved in between and brought it to Jared. His face lightened up and he got so happy to be of help to him. As Jared already had enough knowledge of the game, he knew what the keepsake his father left did. It was an artifact that helped in growing magical abilities. Therefore, what Jared planned to do with it was to break it. He knew that it was the only thing his father left him and he wanted to cherish it, but there was no other way for a weak 4th-class magician to summon her. As soon as Jared breaks the stone, the whole room turns dark and a black smoke emerges in the form of a tornado and reshapes into a being that can only be summoned once in the whole lifetime, the evil spirit of Isabella. Seeing her in front of him, Jared smirked as he knew exactly what he was going to do. Isabella's huge body, long golden hair extending from her head, scary red eyes, and triangular teeth could easily scare anyone, but Jared knew that Isabella consumes cowards and prefers calm, lazy people, so he will get on her good side. Without wasting any time, Jared screamed that he wants the Mind Eye. Isabella bursts out in laughter and makes fun of him by calling him too greedy. Jared plans to use the Mind Eye skill to manage his territory and manage the future stars to appear on his land. However, to Jared's surprise, nothing comes free of cost. Isabella formed a contract that would grant the Mind Eye to Jared, but whatever Jared holds the dearest will be given to Isabella. Money, honor, family, or anything closest to Jared's heart will have to be given up. Feeling the fear in his bones, Jared somehow manages to calm himself and thinks of a way to turn the tables. Suddenly, the idea came to him and an evil smirk was seen on his face. Isabella could read Jared's mind, so all he had to do was make something up and keep thinking of it as the most treasured thing. Jared went on to disclose his most treasured thing, which Isabella would have to take away immediately: 34-year-old Shin Tipong's first kiss. Isabella couldn't believe what she had gotten herself into. Jared easily outsmarts the smartest Isabella and enjoys his first kiss with the evil spirit. Hence, the everlasting contract between Isabella and Jared is formed. The scene changes to Hayes, with a pile of books, running towards Jared's room. When she passes the two other maids of the house who were discussing how strange it is to see a lazy fat guy who keeps himself locked in the room to be charging out of it suddenly. Multiple windows from the system started to appear in front of Jared as his metabolism increased and calories start to burn. Just as Jared was about to throw up from the foul taste, Hayes brought him a delicious steak. In the northern part of the kingdom lies the Caribbean territory with extremely cold weather, zero farming, and lots of bandits and monsters. Being a poor place, Caribbean has easy quests, but Jared's stats are even low to develop a territory like Caribbean, so for now he focuses on making himself better. Suddenly, we see a flashback of 10 years ago where a certain man is standing at Jared's door trying to console him on his father's death while Jared keeps himself locked in. Back to the present, Jared called a meeting of all officials of his state of Caribbean. The chief city guard, Sir Grogas, a red-haired drunk guy with zero etiquette, was the first one to reach. As he was trying to flirt with Hayes, another noble, Sir Rockies, interrupted him in a harsh exchange of words. An old man intervenes and asks them to join the meeting. Everyone at the meeting table is surprised by this sudden call and seeing how Jared is indulged in reading the documents. Sir Grogas couldn't absorb this new Jared, so he suggests our hero abandon the meeting and go for some drinks. Sir Grogas was known for using his power to gain wealth and influence. However, during a meeting with the nobles, Jared, the king, scolded Grogas for showing up drunk and used a laser beam magic spell to destroy his bottle of wine. He warned Grogas that this was his final warning and stripped him of his authority as chief guard of the city. He also warned all those involved in corruption that they would have to pay. The nobles, frightened of meeting the same fate as Grogas, apologized and begged for another chance. Sir Rockies was given the rank of public chief guard of Caribbean. A month later, Jared and Sir Rockies took action against injustice, eliminating the unlawful collection of taxes by Grogas's men. Trust in Jared was regained as he took charge and eliminated corruption. Although Isabella was still nagging about returning the Mind Eye as she realized how Jared had tricked her, the next issue at hand was the low agricultural harvest. In order to save reserves, they needed local production for their people, but this had been an issue for some time. Jared was thinking of a solution when Iraqis noticed him sitting with his hands on his belly. This was a Paradiso bug that allowed Jared to increase his mana by reabsorbing what he emits. Suddenly, a knight rushed in to report that a search party had found a bandit camp in the coal mines where they had taken slaves. A flashback from a year ago is shown where two fighters are crossing swords and a 14-year-old girl named Lena is enjoying the visuals of the fight. She will soon be working as a maid in Jared's mansion, but what she really wanted was to become a skilled warrior like her elder sister and brother. They explain that the dangerous reality of the world is why there is a shortage of mercenaries and that what matters is willpower, talent, and effort. Lena's face lights up with hope, but the flashback ends with her being enslaved, chained, and traumatized, calling out for her brother and sister. Lena was remembering the director of her orphanage who had always been kind to her, but the bandits who enslaved her told her that the director had sold her to them. Lena couldn't believe it and yelled that they were lying, that the director had promised to make her a noble maid. The bandits laughed at her, and when she tried to argue more, one of them used his whip to silence her. For a month she had been spending her time behind bars, where she met another slave who was also her age. The girl, Manny, told her that all orphans from Majorca were auctioned off as slaves and that the director was probably involved as well. Lena refused to give up and was determined to find a way to escape. Manny suggested that they get along until they die in this hell. Another month passed and the two became close friends. Most of the other slaves were sold quickly, and time passed until they both reached the peak selling age of 15. In the period of 6 months, Lena and Manny got used to the harsh labor in Caribbean. Manny shared her knowledge of the world with Lena and how the situation was getting worse than ever because of an incompetent leader. One day, Manny got a high fever and was in dire need of help. Lena begged one of the bandits to provide a bowl of soup, and when he tried to take Lena to a private place, Manny threw the hot soup on his face and they both ran away. The bandit, in a rage, tried to stab Lena, but Manny took the knife for her and told her to pursue her dreams instead of crying over a girl who never had anything to look forward to. The bandit turned towards Lena to kill her as well, with the knife so close to her neck. Lena had still not given up hope. Jared arrives giving a burn. That's it for today, guys. I will be signing off for now. Don't forget to subscribe to Manhwa Station and turn notifications on. This motivates me to work harder for you guys to create more content for you. Also comment down if you want another part. See you in the next video.